High school coaches are underappreciated. They observe, teach, communicate, and execute. That's what you see. What you don't see is the time they game plan, study, schedule, organize, and put out fires. High school coaches are underappreciated. But the payoff for high school coaches isn't about banners and trophies, and it certainly isn't paychecks. They're not looking for a return on investment for all the time they put in. It's a different kind of ROI that makes it worth the grind. It's the ripples of impact that they have the opportunity to create. His platform as a football and track and field coach at Brandon Valley High School provided a place to sow seeds that will continue to impact lives for many years to come. Coach Garrow loved to win, and he did a lot of it. He won more games at Brandon Valley than any other Lynx football coach. He started his high school coaching career as the defensive coordinator in 1999 and took over as head coach in 2005. He led the Lynx to 5 championship games and 2 championships. The most recent in his last year as the acting head coach of Brandon Valley in 2020. Coach Garrow battled with glioblastoma, an aggressive form of brain tumor, for just over the last year of his life. He put up a good fight, but died in January of 2022. He left a legacy of strong relationships that he had made over his 55 years. We could make this a reflective story about being one of the top coaches in the state. He was incredible at game planning, installing innovative insights, and flat out finding ways to win on the field. But there was something else that pushed him. The coaches that he shared a sideline with have a unique perspective on what made him great.
His ability to reach kids and to reach other people and to get them on board with whatever mission it might be, whether it's getting a kid to believe they're a good track athlete when they really maybe don't want to be there. He had a knack of doing that. He could see things in other people that they couldn't see in themselves. He just had that ability to make a difference in everything he did all the time.
His plan in everything was these kids to be more than just an athlete. And that was brought up every day at practice, every day after a game, is that, if say we lost something, this is not life or death, kids. If this is the hardest thing you've ever gone through, you're gonna have a really hard life. And his main thing was down the road, because we'd spent a lot of time off the field together too, seeing that these kids have turned into great husbands, great mothers, great wives and things like that. That meant a lot more to him, that these kids turned out to be great kids, parents, and all that. That meant way more to him than the winning or the banners that are hanging in our gym.
Chad's style was hard to describe, but he definitely had it.
Every coach that I've ever been around that's been around him, or any student that's been around him, they look at him like I have never seen anybody else look at anybody else.
Every coach has a different style. Coach Garrow was a man of few words, but when he spoke, you listened.
I mean, I'm a special teams coach, and I knew when I screwed up, I just had to look, and I got the stare, and it's kind of like when you got in trouble at home by your mom. You knew you were in deep trouble when she gave you the stare. It was the same thing with Coach Garrow. He didn't say anything. He just looked at you, and you go, oh, crap.
But the reverse was true too. If you liked something you did, you might get that look, or even a compliment. Those guarded words went a long way to making the ripples start to billow.
If you got the, hey, that was a really good call, that was like, you got your favorite Christmas present on Christmas morning because you related. I mean, it just made you feel so good that he recognized that, hey, you saw something in that game and you made a call that was, that was the one that needed to be made.
If you got a compliment from Coach Garrow, you did something really well. It's not like you hand them out, but when you got one, you should see the smile on their faces.
Everything that with him was always a teaching moment. And I remember listening to him talk to our quarterback sometimes on the headset. He might look, gruff on the outside, but there was never gruff things said to our quarterbacks. It was, this is what you needed to see, this is what you didn't see, and this is why it happened. And that piece of his coaching was missed by so many people that didn't have the luxury to be on the sidelines with the headsets on, when he was talking to kids and athletes. And in practice, we all the coaches had that same luxury of watching him just go up to somebody and say, hey, this is, we weren't always privy to the conversations, but it was always a positive interaction for those kids.
Everyone will remember something different about Coach Garrow, from his ability to get you to listen to Prince's music, to his infatuation with the perfect burger, to hearing about his adventures with the Jeep Creeps. Those ripples of impact will continue to swell.
Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a scenario like this to truly appreciate what a person has meant to Brandon Valley football, Brandon Valley track, the community of Brandon, his church, but his family, most importantly, the dad he was to his family and the husband he was to his wife, are the things that if I asked him today, what are you most proud of? And I think he would look at me and say, I'm most proud of my kids, I'm most proud of the way I dealt with my family, and the relationships that he's made with all the people that he's touched over the course of his lifetime. And I think those things are his pride and joy. Football would be on the list, but it would be further down than people think it would be, because there was always more to Coach Garrow than football.
When we do these stories, we tend not to bring the reporter into the stories, but the ripples that Chad Garrow made affected people even like me. And I have to say, I've met a lot of coaches in this business. I don't know if I've met one cooler than Chad Garrow. I remember the one time he gave me a compliment, it meant so much. Not just for that day or that month, it might have even made my career. Chad Garrow's legacy will live on through those of us who were inspired by the way he lived.
This has been Midco Sports Magazine, presented by Build Your Base with Beef Sports Nutrition and Training Program.